Welcome back, Agent. Excellent work on your previous mission. Let's quickly go through a debriefing so that other agents can understand how you were able to successfully complete your mission. Taking a look at the goldbugs.com homepage, it seems that we're just looking at a couple of images and then a link here to things about some poem that the name of this band is based off of. But if you kept scrolling down, you realize that there was a link to their blog post. Clicking on that blog post, we see this blog post with actually some specific instructions. It says grab every first character after each, and then we have a series of 5 dashes. So you realize this was a hint to grab the first character after each of these 5 dashes in the blog post. Let's take a look at how we can do that. The first thing we want to do is actually create the request using the requests library and then create the beautiful soup for it. We'll come back to a notebook, import beautiful soup, and also import requests, and then send in a request for that actual blog post. So we will grab this URL link, paste it in, get that request, and then create a soup from that request. BS4, beautiful soup, pass in the text, and then use LXML in order to read through that. And then we have to figure out how to actually just grab the blog content itself instead of grabbing the date or the titles. Now there's many different ways to do this, but one surefire way is to inspect and then try out different IDs or classes that happen to be associated with that actual blog text. And you can even realize that there's a simple tag, PRE, that's associated with this blog post. So if we just try to grab this PRE tag by itself, we can say soup.select PRE, and that returns back the actual material of the blog as a tag. So that's one way we could have done this. The other way would be exploring the different classes that are available to you here. So you could have explored this SQS block content as well. So let's try exploring that. We're going to copy and paste this. And since it's a class, we need to start with a dot. And if you run that, you end up seeing very similarly that we have the block content and then the pre inside of it. If you want to just grab content inside of another block, remember what you can do is use this symbol in order to say grab pre directly inside that SQS block content. And that would have given you the same thing as just grabbing the pre tag as well. So many ways to do this, and these aren't the only ways, but hopefully this is the most straightforward. We will then grab this list that came back to us and set that as blog. So then we have that list of the actual blog post, and we want to just grab the contents of that list. So what we will say is the following. We'll say blog 0, set this equal to text, and then if we check out the text, we get back this by itself. And there's different ways to actually grab just the text content instead of grabbing the actual pre tag along with it. Because if we take a look at this type, it's still actually the element tag. So if we wanted to convert it to a string, we could just say string text and then remove the actual tags. So that's one way we could have done this. Or just like we did with the image, you can grab the contents of the text and it returns back a list of all the contents as a string. And because it's a list, if you actually just want the string itself, you can index off of this and then you have a string. So we will say that the text itself is equal to text.contents 0. So we'll call this blog text. And now we have the actual blog text right here. Now that we have the blog text, we'll want to actually do what the instructions said. If you come back to the blog post, we wanted to grab every first character after each of these dashes. So what we can do is split this based off these dashes. So we'll grab the dashes here and then paste them in. And now I have a list of all the lines, and I want to grab the first character of each of these lines. Notice, however, that the very first one is actually blank. So we need to use a little bit of indexing for this. So in order to not to grab the first one, because it's blank, we'll say starting at index 1 of this list, go all the way to the end, and that essentially removes that first blank string. So let's make this blog lines. So now we have a list of each line of the blog, and we'll create an empty string called result, and say for sentence in blog lines, result is equal to, and we will concatenate the first letter of that sentence, or the first character. Sentence, and then we'll index 0 there. Let's make sure we spell sentence correctly. And if we run this, and then check the result, we get back a Google Drive link. So let's copy this and see where it leads to. Following the link, we can see here that your hard work has paid off, agent. It looks like the rogue agents are leading new rogues through a series of online hosted links. It seems their next phase involves working with a zip file and other text files. Let's connect back with the director and discuss what you will need to know for your next mission, including working with a zip file as well as a directory of files. Excellent work so far.